Hey, it's me, Carvey, and welcome to today, where 2 weeks ago I just finished taking a course on Project City called Drawing the Figure for Animation. The course was originally live, but I just went through the recordings because that's what's available online right now. It costs $100 to $120 depending on whether or not you want to have the homework review session recordings, which I highly recommend you go for because it's not that much more and you do get a lot from it. The course is 8 weeks long and it focuses on drawing figure for animation, obviously, but it also touches a little bit on comics and is overall pretty applicable to both. This is part 1 of a 2-part course. The other part is also 8 weeks long, but this video is just reviewing the part 1 of the course. The course covers gesture drawing, shape design, form and perspective, grounding characters in 3D space, sketching quickly and effectively, different methods of sketching, anatomy, range of motion, heads and hands, and some examples of the exercises you'll be doing if you take the course are basic figure drawing, foreshortening, 100 gestures, which you're going to be doing in like a day because there's other homework that week, but it's not too bad because you're scribbling for all of them. And then rotating a pose from reference to low and high camera angles, on model character from 3 camera angles, on model head from 9 camera angles, and some exaggerated shapes for a number of the different things that you study throughout the course. So it goes from pretty basic to quite a bit more advanced here, and there's a lot of stuff that I haven't mentioned. So just be aware that there's a lot of homework. It started out pretty light, but by the end of the course, it took about 3 to 4 hours a day for me to keep up with it 5 days a week. And that's in addition to the 3 hours for each class recording, which there's 1 each week, and the also once a week feedback recordings are another 3 hours. Now the instructor, James, takes a pretty analytical approach to this. He does explain stuff pretty thoroughly though, so even if you aren't particularly analytical in your own approach, you should still be able to keep up. Also, whenever anyone asks questions, he does a very good job of answering very thoroughly. He'll step aside from the main topic in both the classes and the feedbacks, and he'll draw out what he's explaining, and then he'll give you recommendations for things you can do and then incorporate those recommendations into the homework the following week. So he does a very good job with all of that kind of stuff, which is really nice. So how has my skill level changed? And so here you can see the last drawing I did before the course. The coloring for this one, by the way, was based off of this video right here in the card. And then here is the first drawing I drew after finishing the course. And the coloring for this one was done following this tutorial here. First, I'll focus on the after drawing and this other drawing from a similar perspective that I did before the course, so we can see how my perspective stuff has changed, and we'll look at the other ones. The head on this Teto drawing here is a bit too far back. Like where it is now, if you imagine where the neck connects to the head and then where the neck connects to the shoulders, they don't line up properly. If I want the head to be in that position so you can see that much of the body, then it's got to be facing a lot more upwards. The feet are also too far forwards and need to be pushed back in order to support the weight properly. And then the overall pose doesn't feel interesting enough or dynamic enough. And then as far as shape design goes, the shapes are very, very basic here. They could be a lot more interesting, especially in the hand. You can see I've just used basically rounded off, and I didn't even make the fingers taper. They're very basic. In the after drawing here though, where the neck connects to the head and then where it connects to the shoulders, you can see they actually do line up properly. It's got twisting in the body. It's very dynamic. Feet placement is correct. The hand is made out of much more interesting shapes. I do think I could have used better shapes here. I have a lot to learn still on what shapes to use for the hand and making it match the rest of the style. You can see it stands out pretty poorly here. So starting with the Nano drawing here, the pose overall is pretty good actually. It feels in motion, feels pretty dynamic. The torso definitely should be twisting more to just make it look that little bit better. But overall, I think it's pretty good. The forearms are bad with the shape design. Having the leg be consistent all the way through doesn't look as bad to me as having that thick wrist. Being the same thickness as over by the elbow. But the main thing that stands out, the main problem here is the eye placement on the head. Whereas if we look at the Mio drawing again, you can see eye placement is much better on the head. And if we look at these other sketches over here, they definitely have their problems. These were only 10-minute sketches, but they were only 10-minute sketches. These other drawings from before took way longer than that to get to anywhere near a good place. And these all hold very nice overall poses. The proportions on the second one here are pretty bad. And the first one here is kind of like, bruh. But overall, they're not a bad starting point for a drawing. And they include a lot more proper twisting in the torso It could be stronger on some of them, that second and the first and second pose especially, but compared to all the previous ones, which had basically none, even the Miku one doesn't have much in the way of twisting, despite the fact that that's a pose where you really would want some twisting in that torso. The arm reaching down to the ground should have that shoulder pushed further back quite a bit. Shape design on the Miku one's also kind of off, like the thighs are the same on both sides. You should make it more interesting than that. The wrist is really thick on this hand here. It's a bit thinner on the other hand. And the fingers are once again a little too sausagey. One last thing I want to point out is the difference in time that these took. The drawing of Nano here, the drawing overall took 2 weeks, but getting it to the line art took several days. This Teto drawing also took several days to get it to the point where it is. This Miku one took probably 2 weeks to get to the point where it is. This Mio drawing here, I think I started on the line art on the second day that I was drawing this. And that's with a similar amount of time being put in each day. And then these 4 at the bottom here, those were all 4 sketched within 53 minutes, a little over 10 minutes per sketch. There's no way I would have been able to do that before and have it turn out anywhere near as good as this. So what do I consider to be like the minimum requirements for taking this course? You don't have to be as good at drawing as I was when I started. If your art looks like this, then you probably shouldn't go. This is some of my older art here. You probably shouldn't go ahead and take this course. There are resources on YouTube that are going to be much more helpful for you. I would recommend specifically checking out Blue Biscuits, Draw Like a Sir, Winged Canvas, and Ethan Becker on YouTube. All of those channels are going to have really great resources for you. If your art is a good step above that, looks more maybe something like this or like this, you know, a bit lower than where mine was when I started, sure, but still good enough to start the course. Skill-wise, you're ready. The only question left here then is, are you able to put in the time commitment? If you've been drawing for over an hour every day for the last 6 months, then you can do it, but it's going to be one hell of a ride. That's where I was when I started this course, and I was excited to push myself to my limits, and I did on a daily basis. Aside from like the first couple weeks, which fit nicely into the schedule I'd already built up, I was drawing at least 3 times as much per day as I was before I started the course by the end of it. If you find yourself running out of time for some of the exercises, don't stress out too much over it and split up the remaining time you have across the exercises so that you can get the most out of each one instead of leaving some completely unfinished. There are a couple weeks where I didn't finish all my exercises. I would also recommend being really strict about not drawing on the weekends. So what if your skill level is around where mine is now, or maybe even higher, and you spend 2 or more hours drawing every day? Can you still take this course, or is this all just going to be stuff you already know? The answer is yes, you still can take this course. There were plenty of people well above and well below my skill level when I went through the course. But yeah, I took a 2-week break to make this video. Well, not just to make this video, I was going to take a 2-week break anyways, but I took a 2-week break, and tomorrow, day after this video goes live, I'm going to be starting my next course. So hopefully I'll make a review on that one too. But yeah, bye.